Hello.
So we are live on YouTube After Dark with Marc. I am so happy to have this person, a dear friend of mine, and she accepted the invitation. And she's like kind of a little magician, or as she loves to call herself, a rich bitch, which she has a program which is called the Diamond Rich Bitch. Kathrin Weishäupl, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. I'm so happy to have you on After Dark with Marc.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation.
Actually, Kathrin is representing exactly what After Dark with Marc is all about. She's all about light. So tell me a little bit about you. Like, who's Kathrin?
Who's Kathrin? Well, so at the moment, I think I'm kind of a CEO. I have my own company with in a coaching business, and so I do that now for around 2 years. And before I already started, but 2 years, 100% like with my own business. And yeah, that's also how we met. And yeah.
Actually, it's really interesting because when I met Kathrin, you know, I had a beard as well, which now it's in a total different circumstances, the reason why I'm growing my beard right now. But when I met her, she was still working full-time, but she was having already this idea, you know, I'm going to leave my corporate world and I'm going to start building this business. And what she did is she built 8 figures, and if you cannot calculate 8 figures, is over $10 million in 2.5 years. And if you think about it, like the magnitude of what and as well how fast that she built this business, this is absolutely amazing. I like the first question that I have for you: is this available to anybody? Is anybody can build a successful business and be a millionaire in a very short amount of time? You're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Oops. Yes, absolutely. So this is, I mean, that's a question like so many people ask this question. And I think the reason why we ask that question is that we kind of want to know, no, it's not possible. No, it's not, like it's hard, it's difficult, it's just for some people. And sometimes we ask for kind of excuses that we are not that we didn't achieve more than we already achieved. And the thing is, when I can do that, everyone can do it, because it's just, I mean, yeah, you have to change something, and it's not about working more and working harder. It's more, you really have to change your subconscious mind, your beliefs, your inside.
What is lovely about you is you're so light. It seems so easy. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it that easy?
Yeah, it is. It's just, I mean, yeah, I am working, so I'm doing things. For example, I'm making an interview with you. I do coaching calls with my clients. I have a Facebook group, so I do things. But for example, one thing that many people can't believe is that we made over 10 million in 2.5 years with just around 12,000 or 50, let's say under 15,000 euros for advertisement. So that's it. And many people spend more than that in 1 month for their business. Right.
Yeah, and you're a big fan of Sarah Barkley, which I know that. And for the one who doesn't know who Sarah Barkley is, she's the owner of Spanx, which basically that's one thing that she did is she built like a business, and for the first 15 years she didn't spend a penny in marketing. And is that where the inspiration came from for you?
No,
for your business?
No, not really from her. But she's also a cool inspiration because she said in the beginning, when someone asked her what she's doing to build this business, she always said, I talk to the universe. And people laughed at her and looked at her like, uh-huh, okay. But after a while, they came back and said, how do you talk to the universe? And I think I do something similar. So I think she's not aware of what she's really doing. I think when you listen to her, I think she's an unconscious competent, like almost all of us. And it's in this journey, I just become more and more aware of what I'm doing. For example, yesterday I had a big aha, or 2 days ago, because sometimes when I see our clients making decisions, I know exactly what I do different. And for example, I book coachings, like expensive, you would say expensive coachings. I think most of the people would say that. And I don't even want to know what's included. It doesn't matter, because I know when I make the decision, I am already in the energy, in the frequency. So even if someone says, well, you get a coaching program and we see us, I don't know, we make a call every week or so, and then I don't have a call for 3 weeks, it doesn't matter to me. I am not a client who says, we don't have a call for 3 weeks, so now I want a new appointment or something. So, and more I just become aware of what I'm doing and what I do differently to maybe people who are not earning 1 million or are not earning more. And so
But I,
even
yeah,
even 10 million is not the end, right? I mean, it's just the beginning. It's just to what we are capable of doing, what I like, the potential, the infinite potential. It's just like that.
tell me a little bit about what you just said there, unconscious competent, because every time I'm talking to someone, I have the pleasure to work with you. But every time I talk to someone and I mention this, like they looking at me like kind of I'm speaking Chinese. So could you develop a little bit like what is your understanding of what an unconscious competent is?
Like for me, everyone is an unconscious competent because everyone already manifested something. I mean, we all manifest all the time. If you believe it or not, if you are interested in it or not, the law is working every second. And so I think that's a good reason to learn about the law, that you can use it for what you want and not for what you don't want. So, for example, everyone already manifested a parking place, or maybe a table, a free table in a restaurant or so, when they said, no, we don't have availabilities. Or maybe you manifested your dream home or your dream hotel or something, the last room in your or an upgrade. So everyone already manifested something. But now people say, yeah, I'm good with that, but not with this, and I'm good with that, and blah 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 blah. So we can manifest everything. It's just that we have to become aware of it, how it works and what we want, and then we have to change our beliefs and paradigms and become more aware and more aware and more aware. And there are, for me, I mean, just in the last 4 years, I heard the first time about The Secret and the Law of Attraction 2016. Just in the last 4 years, I cannot count the levels of awareness that I went through. Because then you think, I think it's similar what golf stars say, that you think you are you are good with golf, and then you go to play and it seems that you never played before. And sometimes it's similar with the law, that you think, okay, so I know about gratitude, I know about making decisions, I know about commitment, I know about awareness, I know about faith. And then you make a next goal and you say, well, maybe no, doesn't work. So you have to go to the next level of faith and trust and following intuition that says invest in yourself, and you say, no, it's so much money. So there are so many levels to me.
If someone would look at you from outside, like not knowing you, they would say that you are not disciplined. They would say that you're not working hard, because it seems that like you're very like, as I mentioned, I think that the easiest and the word which describe you the most is light. You're very light. Like for example, when you do your conference, your live conferences, you're bare feet, right? Or you're having some funky shoes with very expensive dress and very expensive clothes, but you have like $3 shoes, which
Flamingos.
kind of yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're very light and very playful into what you're doing. But when I got to know you, I just realized that you're extremely disciplined in one aspect, and that's really what makes what I think that makes your success. Or correct me if I'm wrong, but do you believe that this is where really sit the secret and really where people can truly get into a quantum leap?
Well, the truth is, the only thing we have to do is to control our mind. And that's so crazy, because when you talk to people, especially to business people, and you ask them how they spend their day. So most of the time, the first things are emails, calls. I talk to prospects. I talk to clients. I talk to my marketing manager. I do my marketing. I do pictures. I do this. I do that. I do advertisement. Whatever. So, but there's something missing on this list, and that is visualizing, dreaming, sitting. And so I had such a beautiful example again yesterday. I talked to a client the day before, and she said she wanted to join our program, and then she had she already decided, but there was a little terror barrier, as it is always, right? So then I just let go. I painted. I made some mandala, and I listened to some music. So I just didn't think a lot. I was just easy, and I don't know. And in this time, we earned 6 figures. And so now many people say, well, that's per accident. But this happens all the time, and not just for myself, even for our clients. And sometimes, as a coach, to be honest with you, sometimes I really tend to do more, and when I think, oh, I have to teach them more mechanical, more technical stuff, more marketing stuff. But the truth is, what I teach people is sitting, waiting, enjoying, because it's not. And then some people say, yeah, I am dreaming. I am writing gratitude pad, and then I'm meditating, and I do this 2 or 3 hours a day.
They do the work.
Every morning, every evening, they do the work. But there's such a big difference. The quality of it is important. Many people are doing gratitude, not with gratitude. They are doing meditation, not with faith and easiness and calming down, but they are still like, I hope this works. I hope this works. I hope, like, I do the meditation that I earn more money. And that's the same. For example, I always say giving is receiving, right? But if you are giving with, I just give to get, I just give to receive, it doesn't work. And so that's the point where people come to us as mentors and coaches and say, I do the work. And yeah, on a mechanical side, yeah, you do, yeah, like you sit down with your gratitude pad. But no, you don't do the work. Like, you don't do it on this level of awareness, on this level of faith. And so this is what it's all about, to teach people and to inspire people to get to the vortex and to get to this level of faith, of gratitude, of listening really to the intuition. Then they say they do the work, but the intuition says, book the coaching program, or the intuition says, for example, sometimes I have clients, and I tell them what I see, what they should do, and I say, yeah, thanks for your opinion. And then 1 year later they come and say, oh, well, now I have the intuition, I think now it's the right time. So it's not, that's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just that sometimes you need time to adjust your subconscious, that you can really say, oh, I do that. And that's something that I learned. I do it now. So when the universe speaks to you through so many different people and words and books and songs and this and that. So if my mentor says, Kathrin, do this, and I'm like, yeah, I could do that. No, Kathrin, do that. Okay, I do it. Right? I try to do it immediately, even if I don't see why, and if it doesn't make sense, or if I have terror barrier or whatever, because there's a reason why he or she says that to me, and why this is coming to my life, because the person is just like a channel. And so, but it doesn't have to be the mentor or the coach. It can also be, sometimes it's a stranger. It's just someone who you meet someone and you talk about something, and I think so. What I also do is I don't take anything like it's per accident. So there is no accident.
So you're very, very aware and very, basically your antennas are all up and listening to what are the messages which are coming in. They can come from anybody in any form, but the trick, if I can call it this way, is to really stay alert and stay aware that, oh, like this. So basically you're listening to how you feel when the feedback is coming. This is really when it tells you, like, okay, that's something that you should pay attention to.
Yeah, so I would say you feel it. It's not you, because when some people now maybe think, oh, this is not easy, because I have to be aware the whole day. I have to be, as you said, like alert, right? I have to look for it, that I don't miss it. So this is lack again. That's not abundance. So you just believe you will get the information. It's not that someone will say, just chill. Don't do this, don't do that, don't build a team, don't do your marketing, just chill, relax, lay down. And then you say, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. But then you do other stuff. And the truth is, like, do it till you really feel it. Do it in situations where, for example, my to-do list is pretty long. And we are working on projects, we're working on big projects and huge things. But I know that the most important thing for me, for my business, for making money, for attracting money, is that I am in harmony, that I am in a very balanced energy, in a very creative, good energy. And so it might happen that I don't work on a to-do for 5 weeks or so, even if I have time, even if I maybe I'm just dreaming, I'm just laying on the balcony, I paint something, and maybe I'm working on other stuff. And so the paradigm says you have to do that. I mean, and often it's also that the team is waiting maybe, or but the cool thing is I attracted and I created a team, they understand how it works. So they are not angry or they are not impatient, and they don't take it personally that I don't give the answer immediately. They just know what's happening, right? And so it might be that we have a project working, but I don't continue working on that, and I come with another idea, and they are just open and say, yeah, okay, we do that.
One time you told me I was like kind of like this, and you told me just do nothing. And I remember that it was so against the grain. It was so against where I wanted to go. But this idea of doing nothing, it's not that you do nothing and you just like stop working, is to really calm your mind and find that stillness, which the insight's going to come, and then you're going to know exactly what you should be doing, but not from a place of lack, but more for a place of going towards what you want to achieve.
Yeah. So, but there are another several levels of awareness, because now, for example, someone says, okay, I do that, I do nothing, right? But when they start doing nothing, they still do it with, I'm waiting for the answer. Universe, where's the answer? I'm sitting here, I'm dreaming, I'm meditating. Where is the answer? It has to come now, right? So, and it's so cool because now it's just about, okay, sitting, waiting, sleeping, maybe meditating, listening to some music. Because now the paradigm is very strong. So sometimes the paradigm of working hard, people do spiritual practice with this paradigm. So they are super disciplined with meditation, with gratitude pad, with visualization, with all of that, but still with this paradigm. So not really with letting go and flow and the faith that it comes, that they don't have to take care of it. Usually the paradigm of a CEO is that you have to take care of everything, you have to have everything under control. So, but that's not abundance, right? That's kind of, so if I have to have everything under control, that means something could happen. And then I can attract that something happens, because I believe. The belief behind the belief behind the belief, or the belief behind the habit, is that something can happen.
So for you, which is listening right now, which doesn't really understand what a paradigm is, basically is the underneath program, which is making you do things in a certain way without you thinking. So that is controlling the majority of our life, and basically make you do things like, for example, like as you said about the CEO, like the way we are programmed is a CEO has a lot of work and has a lot of things on his plate, and he needs to oversee everything. But this is not your vision on what the CEO should be.
No.
So tell me, what is your vision on the perfect CEO? So let's say that you have a CEO of one of those massive company, which is managing billions of dollars. Like, how do you see, or how would you coach that person?
Yeah. So now that's really maybe it triggers some of you. I'm sorry for that, but sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, we're not here to please people. We're just here to know what Kathrin is doing.
Yeah, because the truth is, like, my picture of a CEO is that maybe he's most of the day he's laying on the couch. Maybe he's sitting just there. Maybe you don't see him or her doing something in sense of doing, right? But now what happens, most of the people feel so guilty when they do that. They feel so much shame and guilt I mean, they are earning so much money, and their people are working, and of course, then they also attract people who say that's not okay. Like, who are you? That's not a CEO. So in my case, it's that I just made up my mind how I want to work and how my company should work and how I want to spend my day. And and now I attracted people who understand that completely. But I still have this paradigm. So sometimes I I observe myself and I listen to my mind, and my mind says, you cannot just relax. I mean, they are working and they are working and they do the work, and you have to do it as well. But the truth is, it is your part of this business. It is work, but in a completely other way than we learned it, right? So we didn't really learn that the CEO, well, we heard it sometimes in economy books and stuff. They write that the CEO doesn't have to have operation to do something with operations, that they are in managing, and that they don't have to do the all the tasks, but they don't really live it. So in most companies, the CEO has a lot to do, and often they also have this, that they are the first in the office and they go home last, things like that, right? And so this is something
that's not the way you see yourself working,
no,
right?
and this is something that I really found out the last years. When it comes to success and money, and when it comes to, let's say, crazy numbers, then you really have to deal your paradigms around guiltiness and shame, because this is huge.
So you believe that a lot of what holds people back is guilt, shame, those very powerful negative emotion, actually. Because if you start thinking about it, and if you start thinking as well about the way that we've been conditioned, especially in no disrespect, but especially the religion have been using this a lot to create guilt and shame if you did not obey and come into the ranks. So as soon as you start earning a lot of money, there's guilt and shame coming into it. It's like, why me? Why me? I'm earning so much and the others are suffering, or they're not getting the thing.
Yeah, the thing is, when you can talk about it like that, you are already aware of it, so you already made a huge step. But for example, there are, let's say, one CEO is very successful and also has a Porsche, but the Porsche is just in the garage. So the paradigm behind that is shame, is guilt,
Why is that?
Fear of what do my employees say? They don't want more money, or then they say I'm not a good boss because I spend some money for myself and I have a nice car and stuff like that. So this is one way, like, the paradigm is showing up, and you don't see it. I mean, many people would say, yeah, that's okay. Like, this behavior is completely okay. So the other CEO drives his Porsche or her Porsche and has beautiful suits or dresses or stuff and fancy stuff and shows it, but is very, very hard and very unkind to people, and very, like, you know what I mean? Like, so even this intense. And many people say, oh yeah, it's he or she is self-confident, he or she is very strong. But the truth is, behind this behavior, it's so much fear, it's so much shame. It just shows up in a completely different way, in a more aggressive way.
Very interesting. Now, tell me, how did you deal with this idea of shame? Because I remember when you went to Africa, that was a big thing for you.
Yeah.
Where you experience like poverty to a point where that it's just mind-boggling that in this time and age we still have people that are struggling just to have a meal a day. And you went there because you're giving a lot, and they invited you to go and see that like with your own eyes. And I remember you calling me and was just like, I don't want to go there. I just want to go back home. So how did you deal with that situation of shame?
So I think the secret, the true secret is that you deal with all of these things like shame, gratitude, forgiveness, intuition, like with all of these things in every second of your life. Because it's not that you deal with shame one time and then it's over. It's not that you deal with guiltiness one time and then it's over. It's not that you reach a level of gratitude and then it's done and then you are right. The thing is that there are new moments and new situations, and then you just feel different things. And for example, you feel, oh, I feel fear. I don't feel gratitude. I feel bored, or I feel this, or I feel a strange feeling. I feel uncomfortable. And it's just a next level of growth. And so this is, to me, very important, that to make that clear, it's not that you deal it once, or that I, for example, changed it in Africa and now I changed it for my whole life. It's more that it's, as I said, the levels of awareness are unlimited. There is no limit. And so, because especially if there are mentors or coaches watching, or CEOs, and also as parents, often we have that we think we have to show that we know it, and we have to show that we understood it. And if we show up like that, it's like your subconscious mind is in pause. It's not really excited about learning something new. It's more, oh, we know it now. And so I want to invite people to remember what you already know, but at the same time, allow yourself of saying, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. And I want to know and to learn more every second. I just want to heal more guiltiness. I want just to be aware of where, just maybe some people would say, no, I don't feel guilt. I don't feel shame. They don't want to look at this, and then just feel comfortable with that, or more comfortable than yesterday.
You are very vulnerable in terms of like the way that you're presenting yourself. I think that this is something that your clients are appreciated quite a bit. And do you believe that through those hardship, this is where that you got the biggest lesson? For example, with the case of Africa, like when you got out of it, I mean, I saw a big difference in terms of like how good you were with yourself, because maybe you did experience some of the thing that you need to be working with or on.
So the subconscious mind, or the universe, or God, or whatever your image is, it just gives you what you can handle in this moment. So there's a reason why I didn't go to Africa earlier in my life. I would say there was a good preparation, and it was still tense, right? So, and I think that's with everything. It's just a journey. And I know you already heard that several times, and maybe consciously you say, yeah, I know it's a journey. But then be honest with yourself. How often do you feel, I want to reach the goal, I just want to be there, I just want to walk through the like at a marathon, I just
Arrive. Yeah.
want to arrive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about the journey, but I want to arrive. And this is where like the magic stops, because you are impatient and you are you want it too much. It's like our mentor Bob says, force negates, right? When we force something, when we are like that, we just put it away.
You talked about the vortex earlier, which, if you're not familiar with Esther X, she's using this. So you have been studying this material like for, I mean, you said like for the past 4 years, like before 4 years, you never heard of The Secret and the Law of Attraction and all those things. I mean, you were very much into the corporate world, go to university, get a good job, get a good position, which you've been climbing the ladder very quickly into a place where people were older, and then you arrive like this new kid on the block and just like break records and all these things, like, you know. But now you are just diving into that information, and you consume a lot. And like Kathrin and I have been, I mean, she wanted like to follow me into one of the challenge that I'm doing personally, which our mentor is doing the same thing over and over again. She's like, I'm bored with this, I don't want to do that. So like you like to really explore different places and different information, and then you make it your own.
Yeah, so we always say ask and it's given, right?
Yes.
But what I found is that many people use this just in a sense of, you have a goal and you ask how to reach the goal, for example. But ask and it's given is something like, when this becomes your normal, when you, let's say, let's get familiar with one concept. When we are just 5% conscious and 95% subconscious, which we don't know, it's subconscious, it's not, we don't see it, we don't know it. So, and now we know that our little mind is just around 5%, but there is a big spirit and energy and God and universe around us, and like, let's say, the whole awareness. What if we start believing they know it better than us? So now I can use this concept of ask and it's given in every aspect, in every second. Like, for example, what do I want to eat? What makes me feel good today? What do I need, or what do I like today? What's a good, like, for example, I like to read or to listen, or what's my next step? So you can just ask everything. And I personally, I love this concept, because that's also how I see a CEO. A CEO has people, and everyone knows his or her part better than the CEO. So, okay, the CEO has to do some inner work that to feel easy with that, because some people have, when you have too much ego, it's not possible, right? You cannot hire people who know things better than you, because your ego is too big. But for me, it's like that. I want to have people in my life who know things better than me. And I just said, hey, okay, there's a universe, and it doesn't make me wrong when I say they know it better than me. It doesn't make me small, it doesn't make me stupid, it doesn't make me not good enough. It just feels so easy to say, hey, I don't have to know everything, I don't have to know my next step, because I can always, in every moment, I can always ask for.
So does it do exactly the opposite? Does it feel like that it empower you, knowing that the universe has your back because it knows better and it knows what next move that would be better for you to go towards what you want to achieve?
Yeah. But now it's again, there's a big difference between, it's not about giving responsibility, like giving your responsibility away. That's what people do. They say, oh, I didn't get a sign today. I think I don't do any, it shouldn't be today. Today I shouldn't be successful.
So
Maybe
using this
tomorrow.
as an excuse, basically.
Yeah. So, and it's always, and I love this, but yeah, you have to fall in love with that. It's always paradox. It's always, sometimes it feels like the opposite. But she said, ask the universe. And then she said, you're self-responsible. What? Like, it seems like to be the opposite, but it's not. The thing is, like, for example, when you drive, when I would visit you in Mallorca, and I would say to my navigation system, Mallorca, then okay, it would find a way, but it would bring me somewhere in Mallorca, but not to your home. So then I have to say, okay, this name of the street, but then maybe the street is very long and it still doesn't bring me to your home. So I really have to put in the navigation system the exact destination. But then I can let go. I can just follow the navigation, and I should follow. I shouldn't say, no, I know it better. I drive left. I drive right. Blah blah blah. I love this picture because it's so good. It just explains everything. So now the thing is, you don't have to, with talking with the universe, I don't even have to know your address. I can say, guide me to Marc. And when I follow, when I listen intuition, it will bring me there. For example, one day we were in Nice, and I went to take Alina from the airport, my sister, and I did not know how the navigation worked because it was a rental car, and I also didn't have the exact terminal of the airplane. And so what I did was I just said, okay, universe, I need you now. So you give the direction, and you give that's a part of commitment. That's a part of making decision. This is first, you give the direction, but yeah, then it comes faith, and then to listen. But it's not that you're just guided, and you are always guided, but it's so much stronger when you give the direction. So now the next paradox is, you can also ask for, what do I want? So you can ask for help for the direction and finding the direction. But it's just so important that you say, okay, I ask. I am open for the answer. I say, now I want help. Now I want an answer. So you always give the direction.
So someone that's listening to this right now and it's just saying, yeah, but I do all this.
Yeah. But there are so many levels of awareness. When people say they do all that, and I know that for myself, sometimes I'm like, I'm just doing it already. Why isn't and in this moment you feel the energy. It's not light, it's not faithful, it's not gratitude, it's just the opposite of everything. And then you have your answer. There is no limit how much you can do it. And how do you know how good you're doing it? Are you on your goal or not? Like, what are your results? And then and I think people often have a hard time when they when they flip around so much between, okay, I am grateful and I have faith, oh, it doesn't work, I have faith, oh, it does work, then it's so hard. It feels so like up and down. And what I would recommend is just commit to yourself and say, okay, as long as I haven't reached my goal, I can do better. And that's not, let's say, that's not good or bad. That's has nothing to do with, am I good enough? I'm just doing better. I'm just doing more in sense of more intense maybe, or more guided. But I don't question again if it works or not, or if I can get there or whatever.
Is there some place in your life that this thing is not necessarily working? Like when I say this thing, I'm talking about like this attraction, this working with the universe. Is there some place in your mind that you're saying, this part, like I really haven't figured it out yet?
Well, in every part of my life.
So for you, it's still like, you know, I'm still working on this every single day. I haven't figured it out, even though I earned 10 million. It's like, I mean, I'm still on the journey. I'm still like working at this every single day.
Yeah. But I wouldn't recommend to talk to yourself like that you haven't figured it out. Because what we believe is true. So when I say I haven't figured it out, this or that, how to become a billionaire or this or that, so then it stops. Then it's like, because you manifest, okay, you haven't figured it out. So I would change, and this is most of the time it just has to do with a little bit forgiveness, like a little bit, let's say it's forgiveness, it's self-worth, it's working on this. Because what holds you back from believing and just being in this, okay, so we just go further. We just, my sister, for example, sent me a picture 2 days ago. And so funny, like the headline was the difference between billionaire and millionaire. And the picture or the video showed a yard and then another yard, and the other yard, the smaller one, it took a while to pass the other yard. And so the difference between billionaire and millionaire, like millionaire yard just, or the billionaire yard is so big that the millionaire yard needs, I don't know, 5 minutes to pass or so. So what if you are open to see this life as the journey, and that it's never ever about reaching a goal, but setting it to grow to it, and that the fun is in the growth, in the journey, in this, oh, here I had this thought, and how can I just be happy and easy and patient every moment, and how can I just be grateful every moment? And I mean, times like this are so beautiful to exercise, not just to exercise gratitude and faith and stuff like that, but also, for example, as how we often say, it's important what we believe it's possible, even when the rest of the world thinks something different. And there's no better time to exercise this, even when the rest of the world thinks something different, because almost the rest of the world thinks interesting things at the moment. So it's just a journey. Take nothing for like, there's nothing happens for per accident.
What is the greatest things that you see yourself doing for humanity? Like, are you more for business and people, or for you it's more like, you know, the next generation, the kids, that they're growing with this type of information? Because you started a beautiful school, which is the Spiritual Unicorn School.
Yeah.
And my daughter absolutely love it. I mean, my daughter is very fortunate because she speaks 4 languages, so she has the opportunity to be in Kathrin's class, because Kathrin, she does a lot. I mean, her business has been mainly in German. I know that now you are developing the English market, and you're having some courses in English, but what you're doing there is so beautiful, and so beautiful as well to see that the kids are open to it, and they want to have this information, and they are very enthused about like the way that you think and what you're sharing with them.
Yeah. So the why of my company is that little children never forget how great they are, because the truth is that we just do all of this personal development because we forgot. So, and if we raise generations and we grow generations in this energy, and let's be honest, it's not yet every second easy. For example, I have a little nephew, and sometimes I'm sitting there and say, okay, how do I say what he should do without saying no? How do I say without limiting him? How do I say? And to be honest, it's just about figuring out how can we raise children in this dreaming big, but still sometimes say, hey, it's not so good when you walk on the street. Maybe it's not so not the best idea to, I don't know, right? But it's a beautiful journey, because you have to think and you have to say, okay, this is one way, but I don't want to use this way anymore. So, but this way didn't work. Which way works? And it's always just about try and error, right? And so my why is that little children never forget how great they are, and so everything we do has to do with that. Everything we do has to, when it doesn't bring fun and joy, we don't do it. Like it's just, we follow joy, right? So Spiritual Unicorn, I had the idea, I had fun with it, so we did it. I have the idea for a program, I have fun with it, I do it. I have the intuition to help projects in Africa, I have fun with it, I do it. So it's just follow joy. But it sounds so easy, and it's not always, because we didn't learn that's the important part. We learn something different. So all the time it's about unlearning and learning. I wouldn't say learning new things, because there was a time where we knew all of that. So it's more unlearning and remembering, unlearning, remembering, unlearning. I read something about Michelangelo, and he was asked how he makes this art, how he makes the sculptures. And he said the sculpture is already there, the divine is already there. It's just that he releases the marmor, releases the parts that are like not important. And this is a beautiful picture. So we, in our own lives, but especially as coach and mentors and consultants, we help people to put the marmor away that is not needed. And then there is, because the sculpture, the art is already there.
This is so beautiful picture. What's next for Miss Smart Head?
International.
We know that.
We know that. So yeah, and it's so interesting, so funny, because to maybe just to give an idea of what I mean by this growth and changing paradigms. When I started my business, I just started by doing. I haven't got a perfect logo, a perfect a perfect website and stuff. We just started, and now there are some things to do around, for example, so legal stuff, and what's the form of my company in the future, and about this and that. And so I can release new paradigms around this and how it works and how easy it can be. And it still works. For example, we attracted a lawyer who is super easy and super not a typical lawyer. And we attracted tax people who are super easy and have not just points of lack and ideas of lack, but visions and abundance. And so, and now I'm growing into that, and but still having this easy structure and easy company.
Well, this is one of the things that our mentor is she's saying. She's been saying, you know, when you do and you get into business for yourself, it has to be easy. It has to have a simple structure. She didn't use easy, more of a simple structure, so that you can really focus on what you love and what is fun, because all the rest around a business could be sometimes intense. But if you are attracting the right people, that makes it fun and easy and simple.
Yeah. So, but
what would you
many people, when they start a business, they just focus on the wrong things, I guess. They first focus on, okay, logo, business cards, website, and this legal structure, for example, to create a limited before having the first client. And so I would recommend, just please, it's a business and not a hobby. So the only focus you need is making money and is cash flow. Because without cash flow, you don't have a business. You just have a nice, and it's not wrong doing it like that. But then it's not a business. It's just a hobby.
A nice hobby, sometimes an expensive hobby, right? If you don't have any clients.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that has a goal, wants to earn $1 million, and right now is just starting, doesn't have anything? What will be the first advice and then the path to follow?
The million is not really the goal. The million is a goal that you can write down and put it somewhere, and it's in your mind. So that's the direction. That's one part of the direction. But to be honest, it's just like when I say I go to Palma or to Mallorca, because now it's important. So how does, for example, your ideal day look like? Because when I say I want to become a millionaire and you say it and someone else, the goal is completely different.
So
there's missing the street and the number and the what is the exact destination. And so it's less about the money, it's more about what is your life looking like when you reach the goal, and then you start living that already now, day by day.
So to give an example for people, like what is a day in Kathrin's life? How does it look like?
The funny thing, before I ever thought about a million, becoming a millionaire and this and that, I just said, I go to my shop. I had the image of a shop, coffee store with like kind of a concept store around 10 a.m. And then I first drink a coffee, and then little by little, maybe I talk to my team and they tell me how much clients we got and how happy they are. And then I just start, but I stay there or I go. I can just do whatever I want. I don't have to be in the shop and sell. I can be there, I can go, whatever. So today it's not my own shop. usually, well, not in these days, but
It
usually
is,
I
it is,
go.
but virtual, right? That's your shop,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
I mean
virtual.
that because often I go around 10 a.m. to a coffee store and have breakfast or drink a coffee. So it's not my own, not yet. But I live the way. And so that's also when we say the how is not our business, right? And it's also because sometimes people are too much in the how. For me, it was very important to allow myself to dream about my own shop. So now it was just let's say, the energy was important to grow where I'm now. But people sometimes cannot let go these ideas. So then they think they are not consequent or disciplined enough when they don't follow always a dream from yesterday. And that's also kind of paradox because we say make a decision and don't change it very often, but at the same time be really aware of sometimes goals or ideas are just important for the journey. And yeah, but I also it can be that one day I have hotels and coffee stores and I have, beside a coaching business, there are other things. And so then even my own coffee store becomes real.
So one image that Kathrin has in her head is CEO next to her name as like a big picture internationally, and for you nothing is impossible. I love like your motto, you know, everything I believe is true. The how is none of my business. Everything is possible. So you're repeating those things all the time. So the reality of it is right now this is where you are, but where you can be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years could be entirely different.
Yeah. And what also comes with awareness is that the time that your mind tells you to settle, because also my mind said, oh, now we have the first million, now we can do an easy job, now we don't need the next goal right now. And then I had the second and third and fourth, and then we already have more than many people, and let's be confident. So let's be satisfied.
Relax. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so just be aware of your paradigm. But there are different paradigms, because there is also a reason why sometimes our paradigm tells us not to grow more, because the paradigm is then it becomes stress again, and it becomes hard work again, and it's not easy anymore. And so now you adjust again and say, okay, so how can it still be that easy and even easier with more people, or with more business, or with more companies? Or so for example, when I think about huge hotel resorts and coffee stores and also fashion and stuff, I like the idea, but then my mind says, how? I mean, that's expensive, and it's not easy, and it's a lot of people and organization and logistics and this and that. And so the only thing I do is to say, the only thing I do is I just allow myself sometimes to dream about this picture, because I'm not in a rush. I don't have to do anything. I don't, it just comes to me. And for example, yesterday, I walked home, and nothing is per accident, because I also thought about, should I go to the grocery store? But then I just felt like, no, I can do it later. And then I met someone, and he's in the real estate business, and we just talked. And I just said, hey, if you have new projects, if you're thinking about new projects, I'm really interested in investing. And I have no idea what happens, but I know that this wasn't per accident.
It was
is just
an impulse.
it is just there is already something happening in this universe.
So always follow your impulse, but in a light way, and and having fun with it.
Yeah. And don't judge yourself, because sometimes we judge ourselves and say, you wanted to go to the grocery, you're not disciplined enough, you have to go to the grocery now. Right? Or we say,
Yeah.
today we wanted to do the video or the webinar, or today we said we make this or that. And that's right. Sometimes it's about doing it, but sometimes you feel no. And then that's okay. And yes, it's like you play tennis, you have to exercise to get better, right? Or you with everything. And in this it's the same, because sometimes people say, yeah, but I don't hear my intuition and you are so good with that. And yeah, I just train it every day. And then sometimes I think it's intuition, but then I think that was paradigm. It just hold me back of, let's say, doing my sit-ups. And then I know it's intuition to not doing the video today, and instead doing something different.
So it's all about paradox. It's all about listening.
It is.
And having fun with it, obviously. And this is what keeps it light, and this is what keeps you always smiling.
Yeah, and it's, to be honest, it is not difficult. Just if you believe that it's difficult, it feels difficult for you. And sometimes it feels difficult for me, and then I just change and say, what if it's easy? And then it gets lighter and something different happens. That's the beautiful thing for me. Really remembering in every second, I don't have to know anything and to do anything. But what I have to do is to make the decision. Do I want to feel good or bad? Do I want to have it easy or hard? Do I just to think in this moment, I don't want drama today. I like a cool, happy, easy day. So please, universe, could you give me any idea, any answer how we can have this today? And then it says, look at this book, listen to this meditation, or a friend sends you something and you say, oh, that was brilliant. Or on Facebook, you see something, on Instagram, you see a quote and the quote helps you, or it's just like that.
Have fun with it. Kathrin, Miss Smart Head, thank you so much for this wonderful time. We're gonna have to do that another time, maybe like in the private jet the next time.
Yeah.
And then share with everybody where you are at, and as well, like your English program, and see like if you have those coffees and hotels and everything. I'm so grateful to have you around me, around my family. I know everybody in here, like, they really appreciate you. So thank you so much for this time and sharing your knowledge with After Dark with Marc.
Thank you so much. And if you are here and still thinking, you should get in contact with Marc, because he's really brilliant. So don't listen to your bullshit stories. Just book, like, where, I don't know, where, click the link and say yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kathrin.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.